Chapter 1: The Discovery. In the heart of a forgotten village nestled deep within the Carpathian Mountains, where mist clung to the valleys like a shroud, a peculiar object was unearthed. The year was 1923, and a team of archaeologists, led by the ambitious Dr. Elias Hawthorne, had descended upon the ruins of an ancient settlement. The village, known only through fragmented legends, was said to have vanished overnight centuries ago, its inhabitants swallowed by a darkness no one could explain. The locals, superstitious and wary, avoided the site, whispering of a curse that lingered in the soil. Hawthorne, a man driven by reason and a thirst for discovery, dismissed the tales as folklore. His team had already uncovered pottery shards, rusted tools, and crumbling stone walls when a young assistant, Clara Voss, stumbled upon something extraordinary. Buried beneath a collapsed structure, partially encased in a slab of blackened stone, was a small, intricately carved box. It was no larger than a jewelry case, crafted from a material that defied identification, neither wood nor metal, but something smooth, almost warm to the touch. Its surface was etched with symbols that seemed to shift under the light, forming patterns that eluded comprehension. Clara, her hands trembling with excitement, called for Hawthorne. The team gathered, their lanterns casting flickering shadows across the box. Hawthorne, his eyes gleaming with anticipation, declared it the find of a lifetime. Yet, as he reached to touch it, a sudden chill swept through the dig site. The air grew heavy, and for a moment, the lanterns dimmed, as if the light itself recoiled from the object. "Careful, sir," Clara whispered, her voice barely audible. "The locals, they warned us." Hawthorne scoffed. "Superstition has no place in science, Miss Voss. This is a relic, nothing more." But as the box was carefully extracted and placed in a crate for transport, Clara couldn't shake the feeling that they had disturbed something ancient and malevolent. Chapter 2: The Curse Awakens. The box was shipped to London, where it was housed in the private collection of the Royal Antiquarian Society. Hawthorne, now hailed as a visionary, began studying the artifact in earnest. The symbols, he hypothesized, belonged to a lost language, possibly predating known civilizations. Yet, the more he studied, the more elusive their meaning became. Colleagues who assisted him reported strange occurrences, flickering lights, unexplained noises, and a pervasive sense of unease. One assistant claimed to have seen the symbols glow faintly in the dark, but Hawthorne dismissed it as fatigue. Clara, however, was not so easily convinced. She had taken to researching the village's history, poring over obscure texts and local accounts. The legends spoke of a vessel of sorrow, a cursed object created by a forgotten sect to trap an entity of immense power. The sect, it was said, had been destroyed by their own creation, and the village had paid the price for their hubris. Clara's findings were met with skepticism, but she couldn't ignore the growing sense that the box was more than a relic. Then, the incidents began. A curator who handled the box fell ill, his skin paling as if drained of life. He died within days, his last words a frantic babble about eyes in the dark. Another researcher, a linguist tasked with deciphering the symbols, was found dead in his study, his notes scrawled with incoherent warnings. The coroner ruled it a heart attack, but Clara noticed something chilling. The man's eyes were wide open, frozen in terror. Hawthorne, undeterred, pressed on. He began experiencing vivid dreams, visions of a shadowed figure standing over the box, its form shifting like smoke. In these dreams, the figure spoke in a language that burned his mind, promising knowledge and power if he would open the vessel. Each morning, he awoke with a headache and a compulsion to unlock the box, though it had no visible latch or seam. Chapter 3: The Descent. By 1924, the Royal Antiquarian Society was in disarray. The box had become a source of dread, and many refused to work near it. Clara, now Hawthorne's closest confidant, urged him to abandon the project. "This isn't science anymore," she pleaded. "It's something else, something we weren't meant to touch." But Hawthorne was consumed. His once sharp mind was fraying, his demeanor erratic. He spent hours staring at the box, muttering to himself. One night, Clara caught him attempting to pry it open with a chisel. His hands bloodied from the effort. "It calls to me," he whispered, his eyes wild. "It knows my name." Desperate, Clara contacted a reclusive scholar named Father Anselm, a Jesuit priest with a reputation for studying occult phenomena. Anselm arrived in London under the cover of night, his face etched with concern. He examined the box without touching it, his lips moving in silent prayer. "This is no mere artifact," he said gravely. "It is a prison, and something is trying to escape." Anselm revealed that the symbols were not a language but a seal, designed to contain a malevolent force. The sect, he believed, had worshipped a being they called the Shrouded One, an entity that fed on fear and despair. The box was its cage, but the seal was weakening. Every death, every moment of terror was strengthening the entity within. "We must destroy it," Anselm insisted, "or it will consume us all." Hawthorne, however, refused. He believed the box held the key to unlocking secrets of the universe knowledge that could elevate humanity. Anselm warned that such knowledge came at a terrible cost, but Hawthorne was beyond reason. Chapter 4. The Breaking Point. The turning point came in the winter of 1924. A fire broke out in the Antiquarian Society's storage wing, destroying countless artifacts, but leaving the box untouched. The blaze was ruled an accident, but Clara suspected otherwise. She had seen Hawthorne near the storage area that night, his face illuminated by an unnatural glow. The deaths continued. A guard who patrolled the exhibit hall was found hanging from a rafter, his face contorted in agony. A janitor who cleaned the room housing the box vanished, leaving behind only a smear of blood. The press began to take notice, dubbing the artifact the cursed relic of London. Public fascination grew, but so did the fear. Clara and Anselm worked tirelessly to uncover a way to neutralize the box. They discovered a ritual in an ancient manuscript, one that could reinforce the seal, but it required a sacrifice. The ritual demanded the blood of someone who had heard the voice of the entity. Hawthorne, they realized, was the only candidate. Confronting him was a risk. Hawthorne had become paranoid, locking himself in his study with the box. When Clara and Anselm forced their way in, they found him surrounded by candles, the walls covered in frantic sketches of the symbols. The box sat on his desk, its surface pulsing with a faint, sickly light. "You don't understand," Hawthorne rasped. "It's awake. It's beautiful." Anselm began the ritual, chanting in a language that made the air hum with power. Clara held Hawthorne down as he thrashed, his screams echoing through the room. The box began to vibrate, emitting a low, guttural sound that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere. As Anselm reached the ritual's climax, he pressed a blade to Hawthorne's palm, letting his blood drip onto the box. The effect was immediate. The symbols flared with light, and the box grew still. Hawthorne collapsed, his breathing shallow but steady. The oppressive weight in the room lifted, and for the first time in months, Clara felt a glimmer of hope. Chapter 5. The Aftermath. The box was sealed in a lead-lined vault and buried in an undisclosed location, under the supervision of Anselm and a select group of trusted scholars. Hawthorne was institutionalized, his mind shattered by the ordeal. He spent his days muttering about the eyes and the voice, never fully recovering. Clara left the Antiquarian Society, haunted by what she had witnessed. She dedicated her life to documenting the incident, hoping to warn others about the dangers of tampering with forces beyond comprehension. Her manuscript, published posthumously, became a cult classic among occult enthusiasts. Though most dismissed it as fiction, the village in the Carpathians was never excavated again. The locals, perhaps wisely, filled the site with salt and consecrated it with rituals of their own. Yet, whispers persisted of strange lights in the mountains, of voices carried on the wind. The box, if it still exists, remains hidden. But those who know its story wonder, was the seal truly restored? Or is the entity merely biding its time? The mystery endures, a reminder that some secrets are too dangerous to uncover. Epilogue. The warning. The tale of the cursed box is more than a story, it is a cautionary tale. Humanity's hunger for knowledge has driven countless discoveries, but it has also led us to the edge of the abyss. Some objects, some truths, are not meant for us. They belong to the shadows, to the places where light dares not tread. If you ever hear of a strange artifact, a relic that defies explanation, heed this warning, leave it be, for within its mystery may lie a curse, and some curses are deadly.